like to invite Alan Arseneau to the stage. He's going to speak about how for the past 30 years of his life has been shaped in such an extraordinary way by this program. It's a great reminder of the money we have raised and the money we will raise. So without further ado, let's welcome Alan Arseneau.
This is a great story. Make some noise, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. I was asked to come here and share my story as an example of the impact that a big brother can have on a little. I was pretty nervous, and it's been a stressful day thinking about this. And earlier I was walking around the floor, and I saw so many people, you guys. I see so much generosity, and I see so much love and kindness in this room that, to be honest, my nerves have eased. Even just now, guys haggling and getting up to $50,000 for a trip, raising money for people like me. It's been amazing. So I feel a lot better about sharing my story with you now. So, I was raised in Boston, a single mother with 6 boys. Life was pretty hard for us, to say the least. There were a lot of obstacles that made my childhood, harder than it should have been. I was not a stranger to going to bed hungry. We didn't have a lot of money. In fact, we were so poor that other poor kids in the neighborhood would make fun of us. Has anyone here ever heard of a bobo? That's good. A bobo is a totally unbranded sneaker. And you buy them because they're cheap, not because they're cool. And so I was wearing bobos, of course, and kids would walk around and they would sing a song to taunt us. They'd be like, "Bobos, make your feet feel fine. Bobos, cost $1.99. I'd be like, "Shut up, you're lying. These cost $2.15. My dad walked out on us when I was 7 years old. And the last time we saw him, 2 years later when I was 9, was at the Boston Probate Courthouse. I remember we were in the hallway, all us boys were there, we were sobbing, begging him to let us see him, that's all we wanted. And he looked at us, right in the eyes, and he said, "Boys, not until you're 18. And he turned around and he walked away. It made life hard for a bunch of boys. We lived in a world of violence, unfortunately. Gang members came and went in and out of our house all the time. Actually, I used to do my homework with a baseball bat by my desk in case my mother's boyfriend got violent again and hurt someone. The environment that I lived in, my house, my street, my neighborhood, it was harsh. It was harsh, especially for the children in the neighborhood. My best friend, when we were 9 years old, lived a couple buildings down. One night, his mom threw him out of the house, of the building, the apartment building, on a very cold night so that she could shoot up. That night, my best friend, while standing on the steps of his apartment building, had a massive asthma attack and died. He was 9 years old. Life for a lot of kids around the world, and certainly in the city, can be really hard. Life for them is unfair, and they deal with it. This makes it really hard for these kids to change the path that they're on, to change the track, because there's obstacles, there's negative momentum, it's all over the place. Unless you have someone there to guide you and to mentor you and to nudge you in the right direction. And lucky for me, when I was 9 years old, a long time ago, when my world was literally falling apart, I got matched to my big brother, Paul Ruckus. And as they mentioned when they introduced me, Paul and I were matched 30 years ago this year. And Paul's over here. So I remember waiting by the front windows every Saturday because Paul was coming. It was literally the best part of my week because for a few hours, I get to get out of my house, out of the neighborhood, out of the craziness of my 5 brothers running around and punching holes in walls and stuff. And we did fun stuff. You know, he showed me respect, he showed me patience, he showed me kindness. We went to museums, we made cookies, we went bowling, he took me camping. You know, a city kid going camping, it was fun. I was like, we're the sirens. It was good that I had Paul in my life from that moment on because my life didn't get any easier. Paul was a consistent, positive force behind me, nudging me all the time to do better and be better. When I was 16 years old, I was beaten up and thrown out of my own home, not because I did something wrong or because I was a bad kid. I was actually a good kid. I was very focused as a little kid. But I started speaking out against the criminal activities and against the violence that I saw in my house and on the street. The next 1.5 years as I finished high school were really tough. I lived at my friend Jose's house. I lived on the porch of my grandparents' house, which is not very fun in the wintertime. And this became one of the worst periods of my life. At this point, there is no question that I could have gone way down the trouble track. My world was falling apart. You know, the people that I know, they were getting more involved in drugs and violence and gangs. But I was lucky because I had a big brother. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. You know, it's true. Every week I had someone there to nudge me in the right direction, to tell me, don't be an idiot. Scallon, let's talk about engineering. Nudge. Let's talk about cars and AM radio. It's like, what's AM radio? Nudge. Let's talk about college. Nudge. Let's talk about girls. Nudge. Paul consistently nudged me in the right direction. We started off as friends, and over the years, we have become family. And the truth is, it didn't take much for that conversion. It took 2 or 3 or 4 hours a week, a few times a month. Today, Paul and I talk almost every week. My son, William, is named after Paul. Paul's middle name is William. And all those nudges, all that time that he spent, it worked. I went on to graduate high school. I then went to college. I went to Northeastern University. Woo, Huskies! And it turns out that when you take all the stress and pressure of a pretty crappy childhood off my shoulders, I excelled. So I got my degree in chemical engineering. I spent 2 years doing a second degree in biochemistry, which I didn't finish. I graduated with high honors. A few years later, I was accepted to Stanford Business School. I earned my MBA, and in doing so, I became only the 7th person to get a degree from Northeastern and go to Stanford Business School. Today, I'm happily married. My wife is in the front here. Diana, who, she's the pretty redhead with the blue dress. So she's a woman who nudges me as well. She nudges me to be a better person, to do better, and it's wonderful. I have a wonderful daughter named Shauna. She's 11 years old. She nudges me. She's like, Dad, come on, do the right thing. We just had a baby, a 6-month-old little boy named William, again named after Paul. Professionally, Diana and I started the company together. And number one, there's no better thing than working with your wife. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. We're trying to change the world. We're trying to make the world better. My entire life, my childhood was tough. And I was given some wonderful advantages through the Big Brother Association, for which I'm eternally grateful. And in my adult life, I want to make the world better. I want to help everyone. And so we're doing it the best we can, and it's very important to us. I have a wonderful life. And what's crazy is growing up, I didn't see anyone with a life like mine. So I'm in uncharted territory. Like, I'm happy. It's amazing. I have this life because my big brother was there. He was there nudging me when I was a knucklehead. He was there keeping me out of trouble. He was there, you know, baking cookies and talking about college and AM radios. And it was wonderful. So, it shouldn't come to you guys as a surprise that I wanted to be a big brother. Actually, since I was a freshman in college, I wanted to be a big brother because it meant so much to me. I saw firsthand the impact that it would have in my life. But I only thought about it. I never actually did it. I was always too busy. I was in college, too busy. I was in grad school, too busy. I was working, I was too busy. I was having children, I was too busy. And then we were starting a company, I was too busy. And if I were to be honest with myself, I think I was scared. I was scared that I wouldn't be as good a big brother as Paul was to me. I was scared that I would mess up my little. I would just be a bad big. And then about 4 years ago, Diana, my wife, took me to a Big Brother, Big Sister event with the sole purpose to just reintroduce me to the organization. It worked. We got reconnected, started talking and emailing back and forth, and a few months later, they invited me to the 2014 golf tournament. I don't play golf. When you're really poor, you don't play golf. But I can like swing a baseball bat really good, especially at a moving target with arms and legs, you know. Just kidding. And when I was at that event, I met someone who blew all my excuses out of the water. This guy's actually here tonight. His name is Jeff Leerink. He's there somewhere. So here's Jeff, right? So I just meet him. He's this dude. He's got 3 young kids. I had 1. He runs a legitimate company, big investment bank. I was running like a dinky little startup. He was the chairman of the Big Brother, Big Sister organization. It's like, I can't compete with that, of course. He's on a number of other boards. I'm like, okay, he's past me. And he's a big brother. So like my excuses are just gone. I can't compete. So there I am, now excuseless, but I still didn't join. Because I was like, I'm too busy. I'm too scared. A few months later, they reached out and they said, you know, why don't you come to the Big Brother, Big Sister holiday party? I was like, I'm kind of busy. My wife's like, no, we're going to go. And so we went. And I'm not sure if anyone here has been to the holiday parties. Highly recommend it. They're amazing. Imagine hundreds of kids running around, crazy. They've all got these huge smiles. But behind that, these kids have unfair lives. Like, there's a lot of sadness in their life. And they're running around having all this fun. For me, it was a total flashback. I remember being one of those kids, running around, having the time of my life, and believe it or not, I looked forward to the Big Brother, Big Sister holiday party every year. It was a highlight in my home. We're like, oh, it's almost time for the Big Brother party, woo! It was amazing. So I left the party, made a phone call 2 days later, and I was matched with my little 3 weeks later. So I don't know if there's a picture. So There's a picture of, oh, there's Braylon. So this is the first time I met Braylon. He was 7 years old in this picture. That was 3 years ago. Over the past 3 years, I've learned how wrong I was. Being a big brother is so easy. I spend a few hours a couple times a month having fun. We go to the movies, we go hiking. Lately, he's been into Pokemon hunting. So much fun. We go out and hang out. And we even hang out with my daughter, who's 9 months older than Braylon, and it's just, it's a ton of fun. They're best buddies. Braylon has become a part of our family. When Diane and I got married, Braylon was in the wedding. It was only a few months ago when Braylon and I were hanging out, and he turned to me out of the blue, and he said, "Alan, when I grow up, I want to go to college, and I want to study engineering, and I want to be an inventor, just like you." I was like, oh, nudge right into my heart. So right now, if you guys are thinking, yeah, I'd love to be big, but I'm just too busy, think again, because no one can be busier than Jeff Leerink. Don't wait. Please, go and sign up and be a big and change someone's life. It's worth it. Thank you.